Welcome in everyone to the latest Garnet Trust exclusive interview. I'm here today with South Carolina right-handed pitcher Will Sanders. Will, how are we doing today?
Good. Excited for the series coming up.
Absolutely. And South Carolina, we're recording this on Thursday, so South Carolina hosts Vanderbilt this weekend in a 3-game series. I guess, Will, we'll kind of start before this year. A couple years ago, you committed to South Carolina. I guess when baseball recruiting is weird. So when did you officially commit to South Carolina? What year?
Baseball recruiting is weird. I think it was 2019. No, it was 2018.
Yeah. So you'd have been what, junior in high school, sophomore in high school?
It was fall of my junior year.
Okay. So take me kind of through what baseball recruiting is like, because guys are committing. I mean, you have guys committing who are 8th or 9th graders now. What was the recruitment process like for you? And what ultimately led you to picking South Carolina?
To be honest, baseball recruiting is one of the hardest things in the world. There are a lot of kids that are good at a young age that get all the TV and just cameras, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But you just got to keep playing and keep working. And so my story is a little weird. I got my first offer from Kennesaw State my sophomore year around Christmas time, and then didn't get another offer till Halloween my junior year. And I talked to some coaches, but then Coach Couch here at USC came up to a camp. He saw me in Jupiter, and they offered me a walk-on spot after the camp. I committed the next day, and then I was looking at all the perfect game rankings of our class, and I was the last one ranked. And I said, I'm going to do everything I can to be at the top. And I did.
Yeah. What, I think you've talked about that camp before and the steak dinner you had beforehand.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. What do you remember about that camp and about the work that you went through to get to where you were coming out of high school, where you did have some draft buzz going into it?
I met a kid at that camp named Zion, who we still talk today. He's playing at a JUCO in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And because I went to a lot of camps at a lot of schools, and nobody ever got back to me and talked to me and wanted me. And so that just kept my drive and kept my motivation and dedication to this and put it at the highest level. And so coming here has really been a really good opportunity just to show me what life is and how to handle failure and how to strive for success and just trying to be the best.
Yeah. What you obviously did have some draft buzz going into I guess it would have been right after your senior year. That was the 5-round draft. Kind of take us through what that process is like, meeting with teams leading up to the draft. What are those conversations like? And kind of what was that process leading up to the draft that ultimately said, I'm going to skip that and end up going to South Carolina to play 3 years at Carolina?
I had a lot of good meetings with teams throughout senior year of high school. And it was really just a blessing to be on their radar and see that they were interested. But ultimately, I knew this was the best decision for me, just to grow as a person and figure out my identity as a pitcher and figure out how to win games, because now it's just only going up.
What you obviously you have the year you had last year. I think you were freshman All-American. You go to pitch for Team USA. What do you remember about that year and just how, because you were a bullpen guy, then you were a starter, then you came out of the bullpen again. What did last year teach you about Will Sanders?
Being able to go on the fly, and because I take care of my body and because I do the correct things with it, I can be able to pitch a lot. And so that's something that I've really took seriously over the last 7 months, because I've been able to pitch, is make sure my body is in the best shape it can be to throw 100 pitches once a week. And that's what I've kind of changed the way I've been thinking about, because last year it was like, this is it, just almost not too much, but unnecessary things that I'm thinking about that I don't need to be thinking about. So really, I'm going to throw 40 fastballs as hard as I can once a week, and I have to locate them. And so it's more than just baseball now. Now it's a way for life for me to be successful. And that's what I'm going to do everything I possibly can to do.
Yeah. Take us through that routine. What does a typical week look like for you? You're obviously pitching right now, I think on day 2 of the series. Noah's pitched, he's scheduled to pitch the first game this weekend, pitched the first game last weekend, last 2 weekends, actually. What does a typical week look like for you in terms of your routine and your workout regimen?
It's a lot. It's pretty demanding, I would say, because if I demand more for myself off the field, I'm going to get more from myself on the field. And that's the way I look at it. That's the way I treat competition. And so it really is extensive. How about the next time we do this, I'll have it written out and it'll be.
I like that. I like that. What I think a lot of people have talked about your notebook. You like to take a lot of notes on pitchers, a lot of notes on yourself. When did that start for you, and what do you kind of take notes on as you're either watching your film from the previous start or another college guy or big league guy? What are you kind of taking notes on?
It started the summer before going into my senior year. That was the first kind of 2 months that I played with the best players in the country. And the way you get better is by being able to take in information and use it to your benefit. And so that's what the whole notes idea is about, is important people write stuff down, and that's how they become successful. And that's how they become important, because they treat knowledge with importance. And it's more than just, he's saying this, I got to use everything. You want to have all the information so you can pick and choose what best works for you and best how it works for you. And so that's how I treated it, was write stuff down, figure out how these players are so good. Like, I got to play with Dylan Cruz this summer.
Right.
He is a phenomenal baseball player, and he's a great person. And that's why he's successful in life and baseball. And so it's cool to be around those types of people because they make you better.
Right. What did you learn? I mean, you obviously played with Dylan, I think, on Team USA this summer. What was that experience like for you around some of the best players and the best pitchers in the world, in the country, really, as you kind of got to learn from them a year into college?
It was a great thing to be a part of. Just a lot of very good baseball players, and just being able to listen to them, talk to them, see how they do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's helped me the last 5 starts.
Yeah. You mentioned learning from failure. Baseball's, I mean, the old cliche is baseball is a game of failure. What were some of the moments maybe last year where you maybe didn't have your best stuff, or you had some failures that you really learned from? Was it kind of the back half of SEC play as you kind of got acquainted to the Mississippi States, the Ole Misses of the world? What did you learn? What experiences taught you the most from last season?
I would say the biggest experience was the Clemson series, was being able to come in back-to-back days, and the fact that they had the trust in me to put me in that situation. That's what kind of started it all, was like, all right, I can do this. Mm-hmm. And so Mississippi State, Ole Miss, I didn't have my best stuff. And then, but I showed I came out of the pen in Kentucky and in the regional. Mm-hmm. And so I just used the opportunities and took advantage of them.
Do you have a good Skylar Meade or Justin Parker story? I've heard Skylar's been was an interesting cat in the bullpen. Do you have any good stories from them?
He was always just I'll think of one.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously this season you have a new pitching coach. Skylar's now the head coach at Troy. You brought Justin Parker. And what's it been like? I know it hasn't been the best year from a pitching injury standpoint. You guys are really depleted, but what's it been like to kind of work with him and kind of learn from a guy that's had success at each stop he's been at?
He is a really good coach, and I am very appreciative that he is my coach. Yeah. And he's going to help a lot of players here, and we're going to be really good.
Yeah. What have you learned the most from him? What are some things that over the last maybe couple months that have really stuck with you that he's kind of brought to the staff?
So the biggest thing is I'm walking people more than I usually am. And so that has a lot to do with my hand rhythm. And he's been helping me figure out new kind of clicks that help with my delivery down the mound. Mm-hmm. He's helped a lot with my lower half in my patterning of my delivery and being able to rotate my leg, but creating the separation. And he knows his stuff, and I'm happy he's my coach.
Yeah. What's this been like for the pitching staff? Obviously, Julian's been banged up. Seidler's been banged up. James Hicks has been, obviously had Tommy John, a couple other guys with Tommy John. Just what's it been like for this pitching staff to try to kind of find its footing as you try to put guys in bigger roles that they maybe weren't anticipating earlier in the season?
It's been difficult, I mean, you never want to see somebody get hurt, and especially we have like 10 guys with TJ.
Yeah.
But they're all working hard to come back, and they all care about the team, they care about the program, and we are going to be in a very good spot sometime soon.
Right. What's Jack been like through all this? I know you and Jack Mahoney are really close, dating you back to last year. How's he kind of handled going through rehab, and what's kind of been your role in bringing him along mentally through that process?
Jack Mahoney is going to have a very special year next year in Columbia. He works hard, and he just is a great person to be around, and he's going to be special.
Yeah, absolutely. As you kind of get into the rest of SEC play, what's next for you personally as you kind of try to develop your game, and what's maybe next for the pitching staff as a whole as you piece things together and try to have some success on the mound?
Just piecing arms, piecing good outings back to back, and kind of our hitters using that energy to score some runs and play together. And now we're starting, it's there. We just gotta do it more often. And my plan is to win tomorrow, do everything I can to win.
I kind of want to do some rapid fire with you guys, and obviously some guys you faced maybe this year or last, but on this team, who's maybe got the best fastball outside of yourself? I know you're a pretty confident guy. Who's got the best fastball outside of you? Maybe?
The best guy that's probably pitching right now is probably Cade. He locates his fastball, and it's hard to hit.
What about a breaking ball? Brett Thomas's curveball.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go Brett. Brett, his is nasty.
Is Cade the changeup or someone else from a changeup?
Noah has a changeup. Cade also has a changeup that's good.
Who's the toughest hitter you've had to go against on this team?
Connor Sino.
Really? Okay. Yeah. What about him makes him so tough? Because he just fouls off a bunch of pitches?
He fouls them off. He puts up a competitive AB every time, and he sees the ball well. So he's a good hitter. Got to get him out.
Dating back to last year or even this year, what's the toughest lineup 1 through 9 you had to go up against?
Tennessee was pretty good. That was. Ole Miss is always good though, but we play them this year, so.
Yeah, so you get Ole Miss at home this year too. That's 1 through 9. What about in terms of just toughest hitter you've had to go up against, whether this year or last?
Drew Gilbert was pretty good, Tennessee. Jacob Gonzalez from Ole Miss is good.
Yeah. You guys obviously have Vanderbilt coming in as you kind of wrap up this interview, but Vanderbilt comes in this weekend. What are some things that you've noticed from a scouting report standpoint of their hitters and what they like to do offensively?
They like to see the ball up and away and kind of drive it backside, and that works into my plan. And now I have my plan, and I'm just going to execute it.
Absolutely. Well, Will, can't thank you enough for hopping on and doing this. South Carolina plays Vanderbilt obviously this weekend, and they got, after this one, there's 8 more SEC weekends to go, but we'll be talking to Will a bunch over the course of the season. And Will, I can't thank you enough for hopping on with us, and best of luck this weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Collyn.